Hello, my friends. I'm so happy to be with you today. My name is Katie Taylor. I am a certified child life specialist, and this marks the end of our 2025 episodes. So if you're joining today, I have 3 pieces of information that I want to give you as essentially the Cliff's Notes version of what I've learned over the past year from parents and families that have experienced pediatric healthcare. If this is your first time joining, let me give you a little bit of an idea about what we chat about here. I've had the privilege and the honor over the past 8 years of interviewing hundreds of families as they share what their experience is like in navigating pediatric healthcare with their child. We have talked about everything from incredibly rare diseases. We're talking 1 in 9 in the world. When Mandy talked about her son who has MAD type B. We're talking about ruptured appendixes, which is something that is common or routine that surgery centers see all the time, and everything in between, from preterm labor leading to an early pregnancy loss, to RSV, kidney transplants, heart transplants, cancer, Crohn's disease, CF, you name it. There is no pediatric medical topic that we don't talk about here. As a child life specialist, family-centered care is ingrained in everything we do, from how I check in with a family to how I introduce myself, the interventions I give. But this podcast specifically is built for those parents who are at the beginning of their journey, and you're having that holy crap feeling. My life just changed. And that feeling can feel really isolating when you look at your current existing network of the people who are around you, how they will have no idea what it feels like to be you. But slowly, you're going to start opening up your circle. And I hope that opening up that circle starts with listening to other parents on this podcast. There's a reason that they come here to share. There's a reason we have a year-long waiting list. There's a year we have a backlog of episodes waiting to be published. And that is because parents have sat in your seat and they want you to know what they wish they knew at the beginning of their journey. All right, let's begin with my 3 things that I want to tell you about. The first one is you are not stuck to your doctor that you are assigned. And what I mean by that, as women, if you're a woman listening to this, or maybe men feel this way too, it is almost ingrained in us to be people pleasers. And I see it in myself with even my hairstylist. If I don't like the way my hair looks, then I almost feel bad saying something. I almost feel bad cheating on them and going to another hairstylist. No. That just doesn't cut it when it comes to your child's healthcare. So if you are not vibing with a provider or a clinician, pay close attention to how you really feel. Are you able to voice your concerns? Do you feel like you're met with understanding? Do you feel like you're met as a partner within your child's healthcare? If the answer to those questions are no, it may be time to shop around for someone else. And I think one of the things you're going to find is that there is a doctor who is waiting for you, who is excited to support you and your family and get to know your unique child, who is going to ask the questions that you have never thought of before, who wants to introduce you to all of the amazing treatment options that they have. That is the provider that your child deserves. So shop around for your provider. You do not have to stay stuck. If you are in the hospital and you feel like you're getting assigned the same nurse and you're not vibing with them either, it is okay for you to ask for someone else. Your comfort, your ability to speak and share your opinion should be welcomed in that environment. Now, there are some caveats there. Of course, it is not okay to be rude. It is not okay to act like you know more than they do, even though you might. There has to be a partnership, 50-50. So give, but also it's okay for you, to expect someone to give you respect back. You have to give it, and they have to give it too. And it is okay to keep looking if you haven't found that person. The second takeaway I have from this year is something that's important to me as a child life specialist, but I want it to be as important to you too. And that is whenever you are doing anything medical with your child, I want you to start narrating it as if you're telling a story. And here's what I mean by that. The more you say out loud what you're doing and why you're doing it to your child, the more comfortable and conversational medical conversations are going to get. And here's where I'm pulling this from. As a child life specialist, I've seen this work hundreds of times. If you prepare a child in a very simple, honest, and supportive way about something that is going to happen, you support them, you teach them coping skills about how to get through it, the outcome is so much better. And you're building trust between your child and yourself and your child in that medical experience. And if you're one of those parents who knows that you have a long medical or hospital road ahead of you, you're going to want to get really comfortable with this at the beginning. Here is absolute proof. Marley, who was on the podcast last month in November, her son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 12 months. And one of her biggest challenges at the beginning is her son can't tell her what he's feeling, if he's not doing okay, what he needs, if he's hungry. She has to read his cues. She happens to be a speech therapist by training. So what she did is she started narrating everything she was doing. He is now 2.5, and he can ask for his blood sugar. He can even do his own blood sugar checks. He has been introduced to managing his type 1 diabetes since the day he was diagnosed. And you can go see it online, listen to their episode, Marley's story, but go follow them on TikTok. And his name is Bain, Baint1D. You're going to watch an amazing 2-year-old who is so involved in his own medical care that he can speak to you about it. And I think as adults, we just get so nervous that kids are going to get scared and have fear and cry. And we don't want them to feel that way. But is that really what it is? I know we don't want them to feel that way, but maybe we don't like the way we feel when kids are upset. So if you can start the approach of preparation for your child before any medical experience, that is what I want you to start doing. And even if it's something small, like you're going to go stand on the scale today and get weighed. We're going to see how tall you're growing. We do that because it decides how much medication we want to give you. Even it may seem like these are just observations that don't need to be said out loud, but you're continuing the conversation. When you're doing this, understand that you don't want to go from 0 to 60. If you've never talked about it before, don't start having it be the only thing you talk about. Start in small doses and see how your child responds. Because of what you're saying, are they asking more questions? Are they looking a little bit more shut off? Are they not wanting to talk about the conversation? Are they getting curious? Make observations about how your child is reacting to what you're saying. Is it opening up the conversation more? Are you able to give them more tools about how to get through it? Are you able to offer some reassurances that you'll stay close the whole time? Think about this preparation conversation in terms of what is best for your child and let them guide you on telling you what's best for them. You're going to see it in their answers, their questions, their words. You're going to see it in their behavior. Presume competence at all times and talk about what's happening. The third and final anecdote I want to leave for you this year, and I'm going to dive even deeper on this next year on the podcast. Dr. Pooja Lakshman recently wrote the book, Real Self-Care. I think it came out in 2023. I'm late to the game, I guess, but I got it from my local library and I read it in a few days. And it was so interesting about just the history of self-care and the wellness industry, from cleanses to baths to crystals and everything in between. One of the things she said was, if it's someone else's answer, it can't be your solution. So when you're thinking about taking care of yourself, don't look outward at what other people are doing because it may not work for you. Look what's inside you to know how to care for yourself. One of the other quotes she has by Audre Lorde is, caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. I love that. You are not taking care of yourself because you're full of yourself and you think you're the most important thing. We know that is not the case. You are caring for your child all the time. But it is self-preservation. You are preserving your sense of self every time you do something for you. It can be as simple as a text message to a friend. That can feel good and put a tiny little drop into your cup. I'm not asking for your cup to be full all the time. We know that's probably not going to happen, especially when you're in the throes of hospital life or caring for your child or caring for someone else or just life in general. But think about the small things you do that feel good to you and write them down. Don't look for what other people are doing, what you see on Instagram. Do it because it feels good to you. And that's how I want you to take care of yourself. Some of the ways I hear parents show up for themselves on the podcast is, of course, the famous Effie Parks from Once Upon a Gene. She talks about like she has chips and queso dates and she takes herself to a Mexican restaurant. She gets her margarita, her chips, and her queso, and that's her time. She just recently went on a trip. Someone offered her a home in Europe, and she went with another rare disease mom friend. Things that she never thought she would be capable of doing because she is the full-time caregiver to her son, that she has put in her world and have happened because of these little acts of self-preservation to care for herself. She knows she has to do that. I've also heard parents talk about writing or journaling as a very simple act of self-care. It's their time. Others have leaned into exercise, support groups, going on mom dates, time by yourself, a hotel for a night, whatever you can do. I know we might not always have the means and the resources to do these big, extravagant things like a trip to Europe or a night in a hotel, but a text to a friend, writing down a sentence in a journal about how you really feel, listening to a podcast that makes you feel seen, those are things that are free and that you can do right now. We have some big, exciting changes coming to the podcast in early 2026. I hope that you share this episode with someone who you think needs it. These 3 quick takeaways of how to better support parent caregivers who are navigating pediatric healthcare. Like I said, it can be anything from a ruptured appendix and RSV to rare disease and cancer. These all apply. And while your paths and your journeys look different, we're all humans in this experience. And the more we learn from each other, the better health outcomes get for our kids. In a world where it feels like everything is out of control, these are things you can control. And I hope that they stick with you. I will see you next year in 2026. Thank you so much for trusting me, Katie Taylor, Lindsay Fedorko, who is the editor of our podcast and another amazing medical mom. She has shared her story a couple of times on the podcast. Go look up her episodes with her son, James. If we can get this message into the ears of as many parents who walk into a children's hospital, they're going to hear real stories of hope, resilience, healing in ways that they never could have imagined. I'll see you next year. For those of you who are joining us today, I am not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I am a child life specialist. And the suggestions and tips and resources that I talk about with parents on this podcast may be great for you and they may not be right for you. So the most important person you can talk to about getting support is your care team, your doctor who knows your story and your child's story. So regardless of maybe what I mention or what other families mention here, we're not licensed therapists, we're not doctors. We're having a conversation about what the parenting journey has been like. So please keep that in mind as you listen today.